Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do something that I find very exciting and that I wanted to participate in last year, but I did not do it. So I'm going to do it this year because I want to do it and I think it'll be fun. And if you read the title, you obviously know why we're here. It's for the Reddit Fantasy Bingo of 2026. Now, I think in order to make this easier for myself in terms of editing and in terms of having more videos to I'm going to do this like line by line. So we're gonna get 5 videos of all this, and I'm just gonna be doing the planning my TBR part of it. So I am going to put the entire bingo board somewhere on the screen here for you to reference. But in today's video, we're just gonna be doing the first line, and we have a lovely Reddit community that has provided the Storygraph challenge, which I tried to do last year and I kind of just fell off with it. So if I actually try to pick books and try to like write down what I am reading for, you know what? In fact, I am gonna literally do that. I'm going to literally write down what I'm planning to read for each thing. So, as you can see, the first prompt is a trans or non-binary protagonist, which is great that they're including that because the LGBT is not doing so hot right now. Okay, especially the trans non-binary. So glad that they are getting people to focus on that. So I am going to peruse through whatever titles and things stick out to me. Now for this, the hard mode says set in a pre-modern time period. I'm not sure how I will be able to tell what this is. Okay, dang, there's some really short options here. There's one that's like 130 pages, 96 pages, and I'm seeing middle grade, I'm seeing horror. I'm seeing some things that I've already read. And I'm seeing some things I didn't know had trans or non-binary protagonist. Like The Wheel of Time has a trans character, and this is for pre-modern time period. Pre-modern. I don't know if, okay, I'm looking at this book right now, the last best quest ever. This cover looks like it could be, no, I do not want the AI generated anything. This cover looks like it could be pre-modern, but at the same time, I know it was published like this year. I mean, it sounds very medieval, so we'll just leave that tab open as a possibility. Okay, I think I do want to find something for hard mode. So I'm just curious if I can find something else with a cover that appears to be, this like looks maybe, okay, this is a graphic novel. So it's called I Shall Never Fall in Love by Harry Connor. And it says they're going to Austenland, which is like Jane Austen's time period. So, and this says it's perfect for fans of Alice Oseman. So I think this is gonna be, it's gonna be one of these two things, okay? So there we go. There's book 1 out the way. I'm gonna read one of those. All right, now we've got judge a book by its title. It says read a book based on the title. It can be a title so epic you had to pick it, or it's so weird and off-putting. I'm curious what people are gonna put for the Storygraph challenge on that. I'm just curious what other people would consider that for. Also, I wonder how Storygraph organizes these. I'm curious how they organize, like, do they organize it by like the most popular, or do they organize it by like who in the world knows? And like hard mode for this is actually, in my opinion, kind of easy to just not read the blurb and only pick it up based off the title. Okay, unfortunately, the title that intrigues me the most is this Mindful of Murder, but it's book 16 in a series. So, and I absolutely have heard of this series. I've heard of the series. I know. Ooh, If Found, Return to Hell. That's what I'm going with. That's what I'm going with. And we're not even gonna read it. We're not gonna read the blurb. We're not reading anything about it. If Found, Return to Hell. Never heard that author, I don't think. Okay, and then the next one we have is translated works. Ooh, translated fantasy works I feel are rare. Like the only one I know of is A Winter's Promise, which I do want to read. So, but there are 436 books added to this challenge. Okay, so, and hard mode is translated into your language within the last 5 years. Okay, the Iliad, didn't even know that was translated. I mean, I guess I thought it was originally written in English, but what was it originally written in? Greek. It was originally written in Greek. What a dumbass question. Duh, of course it was written in Greek. I'm sorry. How do you know when it was translated? I don't know, but I am, should I read a Murakami? No, I already saw what I want to read, and it's like at the top of I want to read the Book of Nebo, which Nope, that's not in the last 5 years. That's fine. We won't get to meet hard mode for everything. It's okay. The Blue Book of Nebo. That's what we're reading for the third slot. I mean, I guess if it says first published in 2018. So maybe it was first published translated November 2021. So we are like quickly approaching the 5-year mark, right? Because 5 years will be November of this year. Yeah. So it does meet hard mode. Okay then. All right. And now for the fourth thing, it says small or indie published or self-published. Yes. I love this. And I also love this hard mode of less than 100 ratings on Goodreads, or it's from an author, a marginalized author. Okay. I guess I could read Peace and Turmoil, but I don't want to read that and publicly discuss it until I know how I feel about it. But I do want to read that. Gosh, that's self-published? Spellslinger was self-published? Didn't know that. I'm like browsing these titles and I'm like, dang, I've never heard of these. And then I'm like, yeah, because these are all self-published or indie published. And Veronica Roth, there's no way that's indie published. I mean, come on, like, no. Again, I'm so curious how Storygraph organizes these. Like, if I refresh this, is it gonna rearrange the order of the books? No. Okay, so how is it organized? Is it organized by like how many people added it to the list? I don't know. Okay, but I am looking at The Heretic's Guide to Homecoming. I love this cover. And it sounds anti-religious. So it says LGBT, adventurous, emotional. Sure, let's do it. Okay, that's 4 out of 5. I'm like so excited. Okay. I love this cover. The cover is stunning. Actually, this one we can read the blurb. So I want to read the blurb. Life is transformation. You change or you die. Sounds right. Ashamed of his past and overwhelmed by his future, Renoa, Genoviva, Elizi, okay, we have a lot of names here. Renoa, we're just going to go by your first name for the moment. Feels too small for his own name. After a graceless exit from his homeland in the Acarioni desert, his anxiety has sabotaged every attempt at redemption. Aside from a fiery devotion to his godling, the one piece of home he brought with him, he has nothing. That is, until he meets Raylan, beguiling, bewildering Raylan, who whisks Renoa up into a cross-continual pilgrimage to the most sacred place on the planet. The people they encounter on the way, children of the sea, a priestess and her band of storytellers, the lonely ghost of monsters, are grim and whimsical in equal measure. Each has their part to play in rewriting Renoa's personal narrative. One part fantasy travelogue, one part emotional underworld journey, The Heretic's Guide to Homecoming is a sumptuous, slow-burning story about stories and the way they shape our lives. Yeah. I do like stories about stories. It sounds, I don't know why, but it kind of reminds me of the Starless Sea. So I wonder if there's some inspiration there. I don't know. Okay, where? Okay, now let's do the last thing. Okay, it says unusual transportation. It's including a surprising method of moving from place to place. By unusual, we mean that it is out of the ordinary in real life and uncommon to the book's broader genre. This can include a highly unique take on a genre staple, spaceships with FTL. What is FTL? Spaceships, I'm thinking like wormholes. I have no idea what FTL is. Wouldn't normally count, but the infinite probability drive from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy would, or be a completely original mode of transit, autoducts in the undertaking of heart and mercy. I have read both of those books and I don't know what they're talking about. I have read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and I have read Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. So maybe the story didn't go into my brain. So maybe I should reread one of those. It says hard mode is transportation is not combustion powered or steam powered. If the power source is not stated, use your best judgment. A story likely won't specify that cars are combustion powered and horses aren't, but a reasonable person would assume those things to be true if they're not stated. Likewise, in a steampunk setting, the chances are good that the transport is steam powered. Okay, well, that was a lot of words. Why is there so many second or third books in series? Oh, right, because we're reading fantasy books. The Midnight Library. Okay, ooh, Race to the Sands. I have a lot of Sarah Beth Durst stuff now. I just got the audiobook for Queen of Blood, and I say I have a lot of stuff. This is the only thing I've purchased. I was gonna read The Spell Shop. I started the first chapter of The Spell Shop, and I was really enjoying it. So I'm very hopeful that Sarah Beth Durst is gonna be one of my girls, one of my go-to girls for the stories. Okay, this is only the second book in a series. And I've been wanting to read this series, and I feel like no one talks about this series on the bookternet. So let me read this little blurb again because I'm talking about The Invisible Library. Okay, this is, could I read 2 books? Like, I could read 2 books to get to this prompt. So it says, Irene must be at the top of her game or she'll be off the case permanently. Irene is a professional spy for the mysterious library which harvests fiction from different realities. And along with her enigmatic assistant Kai, she's posted to an alternative London. I don't know that I always love a story set in London. I don't know. And I've been to London. I've now been to London. And I kind of am just like, like, why is every story has to be set in like London or New York or Chicago? Actually, out of all those, I would take Chicago probably more than anything else. Like, I'm happy to get a Chicago story. I feel like a Chicago story would be fun. I know we already have Divergent, but what else do we have? Oh, we also have the Dresden Files. Okay, sure. But like, I wouldn't mind. So even like, why is nothing ever set in LA? Everything that's set in LA is like always focused around like Hollywood, which obviously Hollywood is there. So I mean, why am I surprised? I don't know. Like, why don't we ever have anything set in like Austin or Dallas or Orlando? Or I mean, I don't know. Like, there's so many cities. Why does every single city, like, I feel like every single book is like, it's at New York. Okay, like we all been there, at least in a book. I don't know. Anyways, that was a huge rant. Okay, so this world is, maybe like they just set everything there because like so many people have been to said cities, so it's easy for people to imagine it, I guess. But that doesn't make it like always fun to read every single time. The world is chaos infested, the laws of nature bent to allow supernatural creatures and unpredictable magic. Irene's new assistant is also hiding secrets of his own. Soon, she's up to her eyebrows in a heady mix of danger, clues, and secret societies, yet failure is not an option. The nature of reality itself is at stake. I mean, that sounds very high stakes and dramatic, and I love both of those kinds of things. Okay, so I am either going to read this series, the first 2 books at least. This is the second book, The Masked City, which sounds, well, I wonder if the first book counts because it does sound like there's a kind of travel. Hold on, I have to go back to a surprising method of moving from place to place that is out of the ordinary and uncommon to the book's broader genre. So I'm gonna have to read the book and report back because this does specifically say, or I'm gonna read Race to the Sands. That's the other one. Sorry. Who blurbed this? Catherine Arden? Okay. I trust me some Catherine Arden. Okay, like that's Catherine motherfucking Arden. Okay, that's the first row. That's 20 minutes of footage. So hopefully we're able to cut that down a bit. Editing, Drew. All right, if you're participating, let me know what you've read for this. If you want to read it with me, if you want to just whatever you want to let me know, let me know. I will leave my Instagram, Goodreads, and my TikTok in the description for you to check out if you'd like. Otherwise, have a great day. Bye.